Question for Pepe, but
Yes.
Larry, you can, of course, please address it afterwards, absolutely as well. Ask your guest, Pepe Escobar, about the IDF F-35 in Jordan with the nuke that was alleged, a nuke that was going to be dropped over Iran,
I knew it. I was expecting it already.
that was shut down by Russia. I had to ask you because it was very specific question. So can you address it, Pepe, please? Thank you.
Anya, everybody's waiting for this one. You know that. Literally, everybody watching you is waiting for this one. Okay, let's start from tonight or late night. I woke up at 4:30 because I needed to check my phone because I was waiting for some, at least two extremely important messages. Essentially, I would say definitively corroborating the first information that I received. And we have to talk about Asia as an intro. I moved to Asia 30 years ago. It took me 3 decades to build a network in several parts of Asia, Central Asia, West Asia, Southeast Asia, Hong Kong, because I lived in Hong Kong a while, and then there are Chinese ramifications. And it's based on trust. The way Asians value trust, ethics, and the fact that you cannot lie for, especially to your friends, and this mutual trust, it's the essential part of a very good relationship, a long-term relationship. For instance, my first instinctual response when I wake up early in the morning and I see this missile on my phone, I said, I cannot believe this thing. And obviously, okay, time lag. I am in South America, so 10-hour difference. First batch of questions. And already at the first batch of questions, they said, look, the information is, that's it. They stand by it 100%, even more than 100%. And then I said, but there's too many holes in it. This is something that Larry saw, Ray McGovern saw, Scott Ritter saw, very, very knowledgeable people who know about intel, about secrecy, about possibility of fake news, about manipulation by intel agencies, you name it. But when your gut instinct tells you, okay, this might be true, but I need corroboration, of course. So then sets of questions. And then finally, this morning at 5 in the morning, I got at least a partial answer to my first questions. Corroboration from 2 intel agencies from 2 separate Asian nations, and especially how it worked, where it came from. Unfortunately, I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you, all of you. It comes from a big power, the main source. And now it's confirmed and reconfirmed. What I could not get from the other intel sources, but why they want this to be, they knew that there would be a leak somewhere. Even though in the first message I received, the last paragraph was, there is a pact of silence among all the big players involved that this should not go public. The problem is it leaked. And now it's in the public domain. Okay, let's say that I'm responsible for it. I take it, it's my responsibility. But I made a judgment. I said, look, this is so volatile and volcanically important. People have to know about that. What's happening? What's going to happen next? Public opinion will judge all over the world, So what I did was to put this extremely hot information in the public domain, so everyone will have an opportunity to judge it, not only based on the information itself, the way the information is shaped, and the absence of details. This tells us, and I hope Larry can expand on it, what leaked was what the original source wanted to be leaked, without details. But the shape, the package of the information, with those extremely volcanic non-details, let's put it this way, but the chain, F-35 Israeli base, shot over Jordanian airspace, no details, EMP attack over Iranian territory. Of course, there are so many holes in it. But obviously, considering this is essentially classified information, they could not release 10 paragraphs explaining how it worked. They wanted to send a message. Okay, this is the shape of what happened, even if it's very vague in several details. I pressed. As a journalist, I had to press. And I had to be convinced that these holes, maybe the holes were deliberate. And finally, tonight, I got a reconfirmation of the original source and the fact that both sources, two different intel agencies, stand by it completely. And another information that is extremely important. The original source of information didn't get it from another intel agency. Okay, I have to stop over there. They found it by
Can you share it?
They found it by themselves. So this proves that this intel agency of, let's put it this way, big power, they are extremely well organized, much more than is suspected in the West. So when I put this all together, I said, okay, what should be done now maybe is, okay, now I go silent. I'll do probably a last tweet X about that. I showed the information that I received. I showed, for instance, a conversation with a high-level Russian diplomat who said two things that are very, very important. One, if this is true, it's quite plausible. And number two, if this is true, nobody will want this to go public. And it's amazing because this dovetails exactly what the first source had told me in the last paragraph. Look, there is a pact of silence and nobody's going to talk about it. That's it. What is publicly available, that's it. So we cannot go further than that. So as an analyst and a journalist and somebody who received this information, now I'm facing a wall. So now that it's in the public domain, it's public opinion that will compare what's going to happen from now on, and the facts of what's going to happen from now on may eventually corroborate the story. Because don't forget, we are already in a new equation. And I would say that the core of this information is directly related to this new equation. And there are many, many big powers involved in this new equation. It's not only Iran. Don't forget, Iran, strategic relationships, Russia, China, BRICS, SCO, and Anya said at the beginning something extremely crucial. These attacks are against BRICS. BRICS is being attacked because BRICS is the threat against the established order, as Larry would put it, the rules-based international order. The number one threat to the rules-based international order is actually BRICS and the SCO. And the fact that the BRICS and the SCO, and now this is something that is being discussed openly in Moscow and in Beijing. They might even merge. If not this year, maybe in the next year, 2-3 years from now. So this is more or less to give all of you the overall picture at the moment. This is not an isolated incident by any means. Nobody is saying that this happened. This might have happened. We have surefire confirmation by two intel agencies. Are they playing us? It's always a possibility. We don't know. Considering their background and considering this comes from Asia, no, they're not lying. People don't do that in Asia. It's not part of the ethos. It's not part of the mentality. What we don't know, and it's something that I'm sure I think we'll never get an answer. Why do we need to know this now? I think this is the key question now. Okay, if they made the information relatively public and they knew there would be a leak from somewhere, and in fact, the leak did not come from the main source. It came from the second source. they were already counting on the possibility of a leak. So they packaged the information to a certain shape with some vague details, because this is what they wanted public opinion to know. I know this is very, very hard for most people to grasp, to understand, and to even trust. But this is what it is at the moment. And in our role as independent journalists, and Cy Hirsch, for instance, will be the first to tell us all, look, when I'm presented with explosive information, I publish it.
Yeah.
Larry, please. I'm
Well,
eager
no,
to listen to your interpretation.
Yeah, well, so I'll put this out there for everybody to, be assured of.
Yes.
Pepe Escobar is not a liar or a fabricator.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, that's number one. And I think he is accurately reporting what his sources are saying. And I can come up with what I see, and the holes I've shared with Pepe, and I don't want to go into those right now. I think the thing that troubles me, not so much about what Pepe's reporting, but the entire story about the Israeli attack on Iran doesn't make sense. And nobody has come out to really, throw the red flag or call bullshit on it. Because in the aftermath of the Iranian strike on Israel, which was I call it a symbolic demonstration as opposed to one that was actually designed to be a strategic attack to accomplish specific military objectives, that there's all this, Israel's going to retaliate. Israel's going to retaliate. And I know particularly among the Western Jewish elite in the United States, they harbor this myth that, oh man, Israel can go strike Iran anytime. They can do what they did to Iraq when they hit the Osiris reactor back in the 1980s. And it's like, I keep telling them, no, it's not like that. Because, number one, Iran's key military nuclear installations, they're buried underground. They're deep, what they call hardened, deeply buried targets, HDBTs. And I worked directly on military exercises that trying to deal with that situation. And it's just the West doesn't have a simple, easy answer for it. In terms of Israel's ability to strike back at Iran, what happened that night is, I was starting to write a piece, and it was about, I'd just been on Press TV, which is the Iranian English-speaking version. And they were bringing up the fact that Israel was now putting the word out that, there was damage done to the Dimona nuclear facility in Israel, that Iran had attacked it. And I'm going, well, that's a shift in the narrative, because we were just being told that 99.9% shot down, no damage. Oh, it was a failure, an ultimate embarrassment for Iran. Now we're getting a shift in the narrative. Oh, no, they tried to attack our nuclear place. So I'm thinking, all right, Israel's laying a predicate so they can justify trying to launch an attack on Iran's nuclear facilities. And then within a half hour, my son comes and says, hey, there's breaking news. And so I turn it on, and man, the CNN, Fox, MSNBC here in the United States, oh my God, it was, I call it the breaking news mambo. It's a dance, and there's lots of excitement and moving around, and breaking news. And according to Israeli sources, so the Israeli sources are admitting that there's an attack underway. The United States is saying it's missiles, that there's explosions, madness, mayhem, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. That line from Ghostbusters. And then over the next 24 hours, it's like this car comes to a screeching halt and does immediately a 180, or what Annalena Baerbock calls a 360. And all of a sudden Israel's like, attack? We didn't attack. And And then the United States starts walking all this story back, and then the report out of Iran is it was just 4 quadcopter drones that are these little drones about the size of a large cooking pan, and then but something did cause damage. My point is, we don't have the damn story. We really don't know what happened. What we're being fed are lots of lines of bullshit. And the thing that I don't have any insight into, but I believe is taking place, is that there were private communications by the Russians with Iran and with the West and with the Chinese. There's a lot that's going on behind the scenes, because I think at least some recognize this could get out of control real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden you're looking at some major nuclear exchanges. And I think deep down, nobody wants that. So, that
Mm.
I don't know if that helps, but that I have no answers for this. I take PEPE's reporting at face value. It's what he's being told, and he's getting multiple. He's not saying it's just one guy. I was a victim of an intelligence operation by the Clinton campaign. So back in 2000, summer of 2007, when they were running against Barack Obama, going into 2008. I was friends with Max Blumenthal's father, Sid Blumenthal.
Sid, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Sid calls me up and goes, "Hey, we just got information that there's a tape of Michelle Obama using the word whitey, talking about those white people. The whitey did this and whitey did that." I went, "Wow." And he said, "See if you can find some corroboration for it. Maybe put it out." So I made a call to a journalist that Pepe and I were talking about before we went on air, and that journalist said, "Yeah, I've heard that too." I'm going, "Man." And then I called a friend, a former agency buddy, and who was out in California involved politically, and he goes, "Yeah, we've been picking that up too." So I wrote it up, saying, "This is, I've heard this from multiple sources."
Mm-hmm.
And it went viral. Everybody was on TV talking about this and that. And finally, it wasn't coming together. The tape wasn't showing up. So I went back to Sid and I said, "I need to talk to your source." And so who did Sid send me to? David Brock of Media Matters.
Wow.
And so Brock tells me this cockamamie story. And I realized at that point I'd been played.
You have been played.
Because what they did is they told 2 or 3 different people to create the impression that you had multiple sources when it was only one source. It was a David Brock operation on behalf of the Clinton campaign. And I later wrote an apology. Now, what was the funny part of this story is within 3 days, the Obama campaign came out and said, this is not true. She didn't say whitey, Whitey. She said, "Why did he?" That's what she said. "Why did he?" And I'm going, God, if you're getting that kind of denial, she must have said it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just, that's sometimes how this information can get out into the public space. And so I came up with thinking, what would be one reason to feed Pepe this information? Well, Pepe is such an effective, smart journalist and is really a leader in getting truth out there that the West abhors, that they would seek to try to discredit it. That enters the back of my mind. Is this an effort to discredit Pepe? But like I said, the thing I know is Pepe is a man of integrity. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank